5 Gates One Has to Pass to Escape the Matrix. A video essay by the White Rabbit. If you are walking the path of awareness and awakening, you probably know or have heard of the saying that the Matrix film is not a sci-fi, but a documentary about our future. This may or may not be true. We can't tell the future for certain, but it is already true that we are systematically brainwashed and trained by society, even without AI. We are all raised away from our connection to our core and from God, often even amongst religious people. This makes us live life on autopilot, like NPCs. We live how we were programmed to live, not how we want to and how we were meant to. Even what we want is often a byproduct of social conditioning. There are many ways we can look at the topic of the matrix we are living in, but in this video, I'm going to bring to your awareness a few gates that you must pass when you are in the process of escaping the matrix. It's not a one-time thing. Waking up is not enough. Often, people who have awakened think they have already escaped the matrix by simply awakening. This is not true, as there are still many ways after awakening that the matrix can keep you captive. You must unweave yourself from the tangled mess you were put into. In this video, I collected a few gates one must pass to avoid the false path of awakening, the false path of escaping the matrix. Here are 5 gates of truly escaping the matrix. 1. Independent thinking. The first one is about waking up to the reality that the world of planet Earth is not built in a way to serve the well-being of its people. The leaders of the world are mostly selfish people who only care about their own benefits. This is the first step to independent thinking. But beware of falling into the trap of jumping from one brainwashing into the next. Being spiritual is not a guarantee of being actually awake. Yes, you heard that right. Even the spiritual and religious communities are infiltrated by the forces of evil and thus unconsciousness, selfishness, and egoism. Many spiritual people don't actually think for themselves. They just repeat what they have heard spiritual teachers or priests say. The goal is to be critical even of your own community. Question their motives. Question if their teachings are truly good. Question everything, not just your enemies, but your friends too. And question yourself. The evil one knows exactly how many people want to escape the matrix now. So don't you think it has figured out a path that looks like you are escaping it, while being the same level of captive? Of course it has. Beware of being deceived. Don't just seek knowledge, seek understanding, and seek the truth. You can only do this if you are able to accept the truth, even if it doesn't please your preconceived ideas, wants, needs, and agendas. Value truth and sobriety above belonging, security, certainty, and identity. And most importantly, think for yourself. 2. Don't fall into self-worship. If you have spiritually awakened, then you know that God didn't just create us. God is a part of us, since there is no other substance to be made of other than the substance God is made of. Source energy, therefore we are made of God. However, some people who practice spirituality for impure reasons tend to twist this truth into a tool to serve egoism. You see, you are God, in the sense that a puzzle piece is puzzle or a drop of ocean is ocean. But you are not the puzzle, the ocean. You are not the God. You are an inseparable piece of it, but not its entirety. Knowing this truth should make you feel empowered and humble at the same time. Knowing the truth that we are made of God does not imply in any way, for a person who's got their priorities straight, that you should worship yourself. You are divine, but guess what? So is everyone else. It does not actually make you special. I'd like to kindly remind you that self-worship is the basis of the fallen angel's mentality. Worshipping, aka prioritizing, valuing, and acting in the best interest of a puzzle piece, which by definition excludes the whole, will always cause detriment and ultimately serve hell, not heaven. If you worship the objective truth, however, which includes yourself in it since you are a part of it, you act in healthy and constructive ways to both yourself and the collective. If you worship one piece of the puzzle, you exclude the rest. If you worship the whole of the puzzle, you also consider yourself since you are a part of it. You are divine, but you are not a semi-god. You are a human of divine origin, not a spirit being, like an angel, who was given supernatural powers. Humans are limited, even if our souls are limitless. Don't use spirituality for egotistical God complex. True awareness of God, true spiritual awareness contradicts such a thing. 3. Overcome convenience spirituality. Our world is deeply infiltrated with misalignment. Even when you practice spirituality, it can be brought out of alignment in a million different ways. One of them is only practicing spirituality when it's convenient, when you are in need, usually. But true prayer is not beggary, and true worship is not done for extrinsic gains. It is a lifestyle, practiced from values and ethics. The devil on your shoulder will tempt you to settle at spiritual mediocrity if it didn't succeed in driving you away from God. But this block too must be overcome. This gate must be passed, if you wish to be truly unaffected by the matrix. If you practice spirituality on a convenience basis, or as Captain Jack Sparrow once said, on an as-needed basis, you are in fact walking in one, spiritually decorated, alley of the matrix, not outside of it at all. Don't pray out of obligation or desperation. Don't fast and expect overnight enlightenment. Don't chant and think it will change your external circumstances. You must learn to value spirituality and God, in and of itself, not for whatever convenient extrinsic benefit you can use it for. Spiritual practice is a lifestyle, not a way to gain power over others, or to gain power because you don't believe God supplies you with enough. True spirituality is intrinsic, unconditional, and practiced even when it is not convenient. It is practiced even on your bad days. Faith is not a reward you give God for making something go well in your life. Faith is a lifestyle choice in which you trust God regardless of the external conditions. Let the Holy Spirit guide you and transform your doubt into faith, your fear into love. Let it plant prayer in your mind as a natural way of thinking. Let it anchor you in mindfulness and honor the present moment. Let it set gratitude as your default setting. Let it make grace run through your veins. Let it infuse into your every breath, and thus inspire you to live spiritually, not just use spirituality. 4. Golden balance. This one requires the ability to hold dichotomies within your mind. Only if you can integrate opposites can you find true balance, not by shrinking one side and inflating the other, but by equally tending to both sides in the appropriate ways. You see, as you awaken, and the more you awaken, the more deeply you will realize how detrimental misalignment is, and how incredibly needed true spiritual awareness is in our lives. You will strive for alignment and holiness, and stay away from dark environments. This is not bad in and of itself. However, the black and white thinking that scapegoats and condemns the darkness is actually a servant of the darkness. If you judge, condemn, disown, and deny darkness within yourself and within others, you serve the very thing you despise. This is because high-dimensional thinking does not allow for excluding type of mentalities. Two things are true at the same time. Alignment and holiness is the ideal way, and really the only acceptable way. And we cannot disown and condemn the sinful, because if we do so, we encourage its persistence. The notion that light is at war with darkness is exactly the propaganda that the evil forces want you to believe. The indoctrination that evil is a true rival of good, and that evil is reasonably to be feared, and many more, are all beliefs the dark side plants in our minds. But we serve the true light, don't we? Not the darkness and the false light. And if we really do, we cannot act in sinful ways, even towards the embodiments of sin. Something to be wary of is even within this gate, there is another subgate that the devil will try to make you skip passing. Having grace and love for the unawakened and wounded parts of existence cannot be a tool for enabling. We cannot use spiritual evolvedness and grace as an excuse to enable misalignment in the name of love. The golden balance is not about tolerance or approval. It is about the proper way of guiding the sleepers into awakening. Not by shaming, but by gracefully addressing them. Treating them better than their own self-worshipping master of deep sleep would ever treat them. Give them back their dignity, freedom, respect, and love. The sleepers know less than us, but it's faulty to think we can rightfully treat them as if they were inferior because of it. Everyone is walking their own path. Instead of shaming them for not being where we are on ours, the truly awakened way to treat them is to honor their free will and dignity to walk at their own pace and discover alleys they want to explore. Only devilish people would want to take away freedom and sovereignty in the name of holiness. 5. Integrated consciousness. The false light, aka the spiritual paths paved by the devil, teaches us that inherently human things, such as the ego, emotions, or sexuality, should be transcended. The true light teaches that they should be integrated into your holy consciousness, the layer of your consciousness you woke up to when you spiritually awakened. Transcendence is not bad in and of itself, but it should not be used as a tool to create division and separation. Here I need to make a distinction of definition. Many teachers equate the ego itself with the identification of it. In this definition, the ego should actually be transcended. However, this definition is inherently flawed, because the ego in and of itself is not necessarily used as a way of identifying with the temporal and denying the divine. The ego is neutral on its own. It simply refers to the temporal sense of self of a person that draws the boundaries between me and you. The correct definition of the ego in and of itself does not imply a spiritually unconscious identification with that sense of self. That comes from something else, from unholiness. In truth, the ego has a purpose of its own, and if it's used for its intended purpose, integrated to the spiritually aware consciousness, it is not only not bad, but actually good. The unique sense of self was not created to be worshipped. It was created to be in service of God, like everything else. When we integrate it, we may transcend egoism and selfishness, but not the ego itself. Emotions are not the enemy. The enemy preys on our emotions and twists them against us. Emotions, too, are not in need of being transcended. They are in need of being integrated into our spiritually aware existence. This implies, since emotions are generated by our thinking, that first and foremost we need to evade the attempts of evil penetrating our minds before anything else. Don't let it make you believe that you are unlovable, unworthy, a burden, incapable, weak, and all the things it deceives us with. You can be deeply sad, but that doesn't actually make you suffer if you treat it with grace, not hate. Emotions have a purpose and were made by God, just like the ego. Emotions give us feedback about the frequency we have been emitting, almost immediately, and also whether those frequencies are good for us or not, although this second part is not reliable for most people due to the programming of evil. If we treat emotions correctly, honoring their God-given purpose, they don't need to be transcended. When we integrate them, we may transcend rage, but not anger. We may transcend depression, but not sadness, etc. By integrating it, we transcend its unholy potentials, not itself. Sexuality is also often painted by the false light as an inherently misaligned thing. However, it was actually made by God for a holy purpose, and if it is integrated into our spiritually aware existence, it is not only not misaligned, but a pillar of aligned living. In the original holy sense, sexuality is an innocent and loving way of relating to the world and ourselves. It is not used to satisfy selfish aims, and it does not strip people from their dignity. Godly sexuality is the open-hearted, faithful aliveness that nourishes the being with life force energy. It expresses to love and for no other reason. The gate of integration is a very important gate to pass, as it allows for unison and coherency in your spiritual life. When we pass this gate, spirituality is no longer a simple tool to combat the dark forces, but an authentic way of living based on spiritually aligned values. Let me know in the comments if you want a part 2. Thank you for watching.